Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Once again, we're here to go have another great Sabbath day. Most High allow us to have. To be able to go over these words. I thank the Most High that He have means to be able to detour pain. He just camouflage it for a minute, whatever. And just have to use it to our best abilities to continue this work. Today, like I said, I want to start going into the means of why we have the Passover and, different aspects of the Passover before we get to the Passover, so we will have an understanding of why we have the Passover and what it entails. So when we get to the Passover, it won't be just first-hand, knowledge, trying to understand what it's all about. So those that are on the conference call will know, and those that don't attend our classes, they'll be like, I call them Israelite Passover Israelites that come then. They'll just have to, catch up to where we at. Is that fair? You know what I mean? Because it's not, I don't think for it to come to Passover, when we do 3 hours of teaching, and we don't have that much time to socialize. It's like, that's 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? We trying to, everybody, usually get started, you know what I mean? Where we just gonna have a little time to socialize. It'd be late, so I figure that we start going over it now, and then by the time Passover because it's gonna be just like a lot of reading, but it's worth it, so that by the time we get there, everybody have an understanding, because some people will be their first time ever going to a Passover, and if they on 10 hours, they go to who's ever Passover, they'll at least have an understanding of it, you know what I mean? Because some people are out of town, and hopefully they'll be able to, to come to ours. If not, then at least they'll have understanding of the Passover. And those that do come, we won't have to be going over all the specifics and the things that happen leading up to while we have the Passover and what happened. So I wish if everybody could press star 6. If not, then I'll just mute the call, because there's a lot of noise in the background. And even though we tell people to mute their call, some don't, so it makes it inconvenient for those that want to hear the lesson or hear these scriptures. I can barely see it.
Q&A mode is on. Participants may now unmute themselves. Presentation mode is on. Only organizers can be heard.
So if you have any questions, you can write them down, and when we finish, we can go over them. Just write down the scripture, and then when we finish, actually, any questions or comments, then you can we can talk about it. So let's start off. Let's go to wow. So everybody understand that our 4 brothers, Joseph's brothers, sold them to the Ishmaelites, who are the Arabs, and they sold them to the Egyptians. So Joseph, who represents Ephraim, was sold to the Egyptians. And so he had to go through a lot in being, under the captivity of the Egyptians. So the first captivity started with the Arabs selling Joseph to the Egyptians, so-called Africans or Hamites. So we're gonna go into it so we can let's go to Genesis, Colossians 3:17. We're gonna go into Genesis around the 40th or the 41st chapter. But let's read this. Colossians 3:17 as always.
Colossians chapter 3 verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to Yahweh and the Father by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua.
Right, so all that we say and do is going to be in the name of the anointed Savior, HaMashiach Yahushua, the anointed Savior, who the world calls Jesus Christ. But we know that's not his name because the J was invented in 1630 AD. So, you know, some people try and say that it's okay to call on his name, but I beg to differ, because if the Most High, through the Holy Spirit, gonna give us understanding and wisdom, which is the proper application of knowledge, then we should be following what it is that he's brought back. Get Acts 26:14. So, just to show you that English didn't exist at the time that he walked the earth. And when he died, but mind you, he rose on the third day, walked the earth for 40 days, then ascended to the right hand side of the Most High, where he's at now. When they put his name above his head, or his identity above his head, I might say, said King of the Jews, right? It was in English? No. It was in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Those three languages. So let's see what he said when he came back and met Saul, whose name was changed to Paul, on the road to Damascus. What did he say? Let's see. And let's see what language he spoke. Let's read it. Acts 26:14.
Acts chapter 26, verse 14.
Right.
And when we were all fallen to the earth.
Right, so this is Saul giving an account of what happened when he was converted to Bahashem Mashiach Yahushai forever and ever and ever. Because he was against those that was teaching Bahashem Mashiach Yahushai, which is in the name of the anointed Savior. Read.
I heard a voice speaking unto me,
Speaking to him, read.
and saying in the Hebrew tongue.
In what tongue?
In the Hebrew tongue.
In the Hebrew tongue. See that? So he spoke Hebrew. So if he spoke Hebrew, he had to learn Hebrew from somebody. And generally people speak the same language as their parents speak in the house. Con? Yeah. So Joseph and Mary had to speak Hebrew. So they gave him a Hebrew name. Read.
Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me?
Say, why are you persecuting me? Saul, read.
It is hard for thee to kick against the prick.
It is hard for you to kick against the pricks, man. You're going against the grain. You're going against everything that the Most High has set up. Read.
And I said, who art thou?
So he asked him, who art thou? Because remember, somebody said in the Hebrew tongue. So he asked, who are you? Read.
Hamashiach. And he said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest.
See what he said? He said, I am a Mashiach Yahushai, whom thou persecuted. I just want to make sure you understand that. That's him speaking. You know. Whether it's through the Spirit or not, it's still coming from him. Because when you persecute the least of his brethren, he said you persecute him. Because we're part of him. He's part of us. So when you persecute the least of the little brothers, his brethren, you persecute him. That's what he was doing. So let's go to Genesis, leading up into the Passover. Let's go to Genesis 39 first. Let's see. Let's go into it, because to show you how what our brother Joseph had to go through. And we're just going to do a lot of reading, so get ready for it. Read.
Genesis chapter 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites.
See? He bought him, Potiphar bought him, he was an Egyptian, a Hamite, so-called African, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, who are the Arabs. This is where slavery started for us, right here with Joseph. The Arabs sold him to Potiphar, who was an Egyptian. Read.
Which had brought him down thither. And the Most High, Yahushua, was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian.
Right, go ahead.
And his master saw that the Most High, Yahushua, was with him, and that the Most High, Yahushua, made all that he did to prosper in his hands.
So you see that? And this was happening with a lot of us. But people don't realize that. That's why wherever we went into captivity, that country became the superpower of the earth. They came over, then they got us. We the inventors. But you see, everything prospered under Joseph's hand, just like when Jacob went to his uncle's, his mother's brother, Laman's house. He was prospering. That's why he didn't want to let him go. He said, man, give me my woman. Give me my woman. 7 years, 7 more years, 7 more years. You know, made him work because he was prospering. That's what he's saying was happening right here with Joseph. But he was prospering, having Joseph in his hand. Read.
Verse 4. And Joseph found grace in his sight.
What's grace? Getting something you don't deserve. Mercy is not getting something that you do deserve. So Joseph found grace in his sight. Read.
And he served him. And he made him overseer over his house. And all that he had, he put into his hand.
So you see Joseph coming up. See, all that he had, he put into his hand. Go ahead.
And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Most High Thaahwam blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake.
Right. See that? He blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. Read.
And the blessing of the Most High was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored.
See, Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. You remember our forefather Jacob loved Joseph, and the brothers got jealous of him because he had dreamed a dream about Jacob, his father, and his mother, Rebecca, and his siblings or his brothers would bow down to him. That was the dream he had. And they hated him for the dream. They didn't like him. Then Joseph had made him a nice coat of all colors, you know, and gave it to him. And, you know, that's why I get some families, you know, you have what they call, who they call the black sheep of the family. You know, one person just sticking out that everybody don't like. Or they just different from everybody else. You know what I mean? Everybody else together, and you have the one that's, you know, that's how Joseph was with his brother. All of them was together and they sold him. Got rid of him, you know? Cold-blooded. They was going to kill him. They said, no, let's sell him. I mean, that's kind of hatred we had. That's why I said we come from a dysfunctional family. So ain't nothing new under the sun. We in the last days, this the last chance we have to get it together. Because ain't no like, I'm coming back getting together. Nah, this is the last captivity. You know what I mean? That's why it's important for us to get it together now. Those who's not going to get it together, you might as well get ready for the lake of fire. Because you ain't got no whole lot of chance to come back and get it together. Nah, this is the last days right now. They preparing for Armageddon. Read on.
Verse 7. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me.
Uh-oh. Here go the adultery. Here go the wicked woman. Say, hey. She looked at Joseph. Joseph looked good. You got those spinks. They got the nose cut off, but that's Joseph. That man spinks. Joseph must have been a handsome man. Like I say, he was well favored, handsome man. Say, hey, here come the Pharaoh's wife talking about lie with me, lay down with me, have sex with me. Read.
But he refused.
A righteous man, he refused. Read.
And said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he had to my hand.
You that committed to Potiphar had committed everything to Joseph's hand. Read.
There is none greater in this house than I.
Wow. Go ahead.
Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee.
Right. The only thing he kept back from me is you, his wife, his woman. He done gave him everything except for his woman. Go ahead.
Because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness? and sinned against the Most High.
Right. Say, how can I do this great wickedness? You his wife. I'm going to sin against the Most High. This is a righteous man, read.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day,
So every day she's trying to get him to lie with her, trying to come up with her little scheme to get Joseph to lie with her. Read.
that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her.
That's right, because you know he's supposed to be put to death doing that. When a woman's with a man and she died with another man, that's adultery. She's supposed to be put to death. And that man, if he know that that's somebody else's woman. And the Most High gonna bring it about in this time, read.
And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within.
Yeah, so he went in the house to do his business, take care of his business, but wasn't none of the men around. Go ahead.
And she caught him by his
Now
garment,
she done caught him by his garment, read.
saying, Lie with me.
Have sex with me. Lie with me. That's what she's saying. Lie with me, read.
And he left his garment in her hand.
Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun. She grabbed his garment, and he moved away from her, and his garment was left in her hand. So she had his garment now, read.
And fled,
And fled. Go ahead.
and got him out.
And got himself away from her, this wicked woman, read.
And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house.
Now she done plotting. She done came up with a plot of wickedness. I got his garment. He won't lie with me. Go ahead.
And spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me. And I cried with a loud voice.
Oh man, see? See how she lying? Sound like that movie Rosewood to me. That white man done been coming in there after her husband, went to work, humping on her. And he came in there one day, I don't know if y'all seen the movie or not. Came in there that one day, and she said, yeah, I know you're cheating on me. How's he cheating on her when she cheating on her husband? I guess she figured that, that's what I said, she figured that he's her possession with some other woman, right? I know about you, and she went to strike him, and that white dude beat her all over that room. And Esther Rose, she was the housekeeper. She was one of the maids, a little girl. They seeing the whole thing. They hearing it. They hearing him humping, and they hearing her getting her butt beat, right? And then she runs outside. Once he leaves, she runs outside and said, and fall on the ground. He done knotted her all up and bruised her all up. She talking about, oh, help, it was a nigger. Everybody started running there. Rosewood was prominent. That was one of the prominent, prosperous cities that we had as the Israelites, as far as being above Esau. And man, that's all they need to hear, man. They just start killing us left and right. Tore that city up just like they did Black Wall Street. Same old principle. I mean, they say forget about it, but how you gonna forget about something that's pertaining to your people, your ancestors? You know what I mean? Your family. That's like saying, okay, if it happens to your mother, forget about your mama. Forget about your grandmother. Forget about your great-grandmother when you a great-grandfather or your grandfather. That he was part of that. That's what people are saying. Get over it. You're gonna have a lot to get over though, according to thus say the Most High. You better believe that. The Most High is not a man he should lie. That's what I'm be saying. Get over it. That's my favorite word. Even though it's a phrase. Get over it. Get over it. Come on.
Genesis chapter 39, verse 15.
She lied, man. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out.
Wow. See this lie she tell him? Go ahead.
And she laid up his garment by her until...
Verse 17.
Verse 17. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrews...
No, you was right. Selected, you right. Verse 16.
Genesis chapter 39, verse 16.
Come.
And she laid up his garment by her, unto his power came hope.
So now she got all this time to think about it before Potiphar comes back home. She already told the men about it. Now she's laying his garment next to him, looking at, yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna get him. He won't lie with me. I'm gonna get him. Go ahead.
And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out.
Wow. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison.
So he went to prison behind this lie that this wicked woman said. Put him in prison, read.
A place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison.
Right, he was there in prison. So now Joseph in prison. After being well favored, now he's in prison behind the lie that this woman had made up because he wouldn't lie with her. His master's wife. Read. And that's what they was doing in slavery too. You know, if you don't lie with me, same old, same old. If you don't lie with me, I'm gonna tell the master that you tried to rape me, he gonna kill you. Same old, same old. Go ahead.
But the Most High, Wamashiach was with Joseph.
Right. Go ahead.
And showed him mercy.
Showed him mercy. What's mercy? Not getting something that you do deserve. Go ahead.
And gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
Hear that? That's why Scripture say when you please the Most High, He make even your enemies be at peace with you. Right. That's why I got to continue to please the Most High. And even though we have enemies, they're gonna be at peace with you. Here it is, right here. Read.
Verse 22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it.
That's right. Gave him power in the prison. Go ahead.
The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Most High Wamashiach was with him. And that which he did, the Most High Wamashiach made it to prosper.
See that? There it is. Even in the prison, everything he done was prospering in his hand. I'll read 40. See? Genesis 40th chapter. And it came to pass after these things that the brother of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their power, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers, and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in ward, which is prison, jail, in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. So he put him in the same prison that Joseph was at. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in war. And they dreamed a dream, both of them. Each man his dream in one night. Each man according to the interpretation of his dream. The butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon them. And behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his power's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there was no interpretation, no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to the Most High? Tell me them, I pray thee. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth. and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. And I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup. And I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner, when thou was his butler. But think on me, when I shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. He said, think about me when you get out of here, and speak kind words about me to Pharaoh. For indeed I have stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. And here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. So he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything to go and be sold by the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, to the Egyptians, or to be in prison behind Pharaoh's lying wife. He said, when the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream. And behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was all manner of baker meats for Pharaoh. And the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. Wow. And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. Now that's the first birthday ever mentioned in the Bible. Now we're dealing with this birthday, and we're doing another birthday. Another birthday that's talked about is Herod's daughter that desired and required the head of John the Baptist. So this death right here, right? And it's death during the time of Herod's daughter desiring the head of John the Baptist. We didn't celebrate birthdays as the Hebrew Israelites. And you can look it up, you Google it up. The origin of birthdays. You'd be surprised what you're gonna find. And the thing, all the candles, the cake, all that stuff have a pagan origin. Most I said, there shall have no other idols before me. Look it up. It says, verse 21. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. When we told him remember him, he didn't remember him. Once he said he was free, and back to his position in Pharaoh's kingdom, forgot about Joseph. Chapter 41.
Genesis, chapter 41. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river.
Right, so Pharaoh's having a dream. Now you see Joseph interpreting dreams, just like Daniel interpreted dreams. Go ahead.
And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean flesh.
The first came out, they was fat, like they been eating a lot. But the next ones came out, they was malnutrition. Go ahead.
And stood by the other kind upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean flesh kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So Pharaoh awoke.
Right. The ill-favored and lean flesh kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So the ones that was malnutrition said, oh, look at that. They went over there and ate them up. Read. When Pharaoh woke up, this is dream, read.
And he slept and dreamed the second time.
So he dreamed again, read.
And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream.
It was the second dream that he had. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh.
That's right. So he called the musicians. Say, interpret my dream. But they couldn't interpret it. Go ahead.
Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day.
Oh, so now the chief butler gonna remember what he's supposed to did once Pharaoh showed him favor. Say, oh, I do remember my faults this day. He remembering now. Read.
Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me inward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker.
Go ahead.
And we dreamed a dream in one night. And I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a